This is the Side Hustle Show with Nick Loper, episode 7.
Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where aspiring part-time entrepreneurs learn how to turn their side hustle dreams into reality. Because your 9 to 5 may make you a living, but your 5 to 9 makes you alive. And now, your host, Nick Loper.
Hey everybody, Nick Loper here. Welcome to episode 7 of the Side Hustle Show. I'm pretty excited today to share this interview with you. My guest is Meron Bareket from the Inspiring Innovation podcast and Inspiring Innovation Digital Magazine. We're going to learn why digital publishing for iPads is the place to be right now and how he's grown his business from nothing to thousands of downloads in a very short period of time. And if you stick around to the end of the episode, you'll hear Meron's top 4 tips for entrepreneurs, including one I've never heard before, and it's sure to make you uncomfortable in the good, getting out of your comfort zone kind of way. Also, Side Hustle Show is rocking the iTunes new and noteworthy business section for the last couple of weeks, so a big thank you for all the downloads and reviews. A couple shouts today for Patty, who says 5 stars, this will change the way you think, and to B. Bayer, who says, thanks for the great variety of content that gets you thinking about your side hustle business ideas. Thanks so much, guys. It's a huge help. And with that, let's get right into it. Meron, welcome.
Thank you, Nick. It's a great pleasure to be on your show. I'm very honored.
Awesome. I'm excited to have you and learn all about your adventures in entrepreneurship and side hustles. So I want to start where most side hustles start, and that's with a corporate job. So can you tell me about where you were working and kind of how you got started in the world of entrepreneurship?
I think I was born an entrepreneur. At the age of 6, I was fixing computers of the kindergarten. At the age of 10, I started taking money for it. Yeah. It's pretty radical, I guess.
Wow.
I got my Microsoft certified system engineer certification when I was 14, maybe 15, something like that.
Are you one of those child prodigies? I didn't know any of this.
Well, some would say I did start my bachelor degree when I was 15. So yeah, some would say,
okay, wow.
I guess. And I started my own business. I don't know officially, but whatever. I started an entrepreneurial business. I was definitely already running it when I was 18. It was a software development business. And a few years afterwards, when I was trying to get some angel investment, I got some advice from an angel investor. And it turned out to be horrible advice that almost killed the business and definitely killed my passion, which is when I turned to corporate.
Okay. What advice did he suggest that you'd follow?
It's not good that you have a handful of customers paying you a lot of money. You need to have many customers paying you insignificant amount of money.
Okay. Interesting.
His point was that this way, if a customer leaves you, it's not like it doesn't hurt your business too much, but the business wasn't streamlined and wasn't in a point where it could scale up so quickly, and it definitely hurted the level of service I was giving to my existing customers. And because I lowered my prices, I was getting a whole different type of customers into the business, and it just ended up in a deadlock. And at the same time, someone I dated, her uncle was starting some new department in his corporate company about internet marketing. And at that stage, the software that I was developing was a content management system that was competing against WordPress. So he heard about me, we sat down, and we decided to work together on that department. But as often happens in corporate, on my first day, he said, just before we start, there's a little problem we have on a very, very delicate project. Could you have a look? because I had the background of computer science and all of that.
Okay.
And I ended up doing something completely different for my almost 2 years in corporate.
Oh, wow. So that didn't end up going the way you planned.
No, instead of building, the whole idea was that this new department will be like a sub company owned by me, him, and another investor. But that company was never started. Instead, I was clocking almost 300 hours monthly working for the man. And during the process, hurting, like really, really worsening my physical state. I already had back issues from a severe car accident that I had as a teenager, and working 300 hours in front of a computer every month didn't help that. So I was just in a bad place, both physically and emotionally. I was not enjoying what I was doing. I was not inspired by what I was doing, and I could just see my dream of entrepreneurship just fading away, basically.
Okay. So what came next?
Well, I started listening to podcasting. The first one I found was Leslie Samuel. At the time, he had the Freebie Guy podcast. And I don't remember much of his podcast because I just heard the first episode with Pat Flynn, and I thought, Pat is a cool guy. I should follow Pat.
Okay.
Started listening to Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. And basically, I was listening to it day after day, every night when I was taking my dog for a walk. And I was so inspired and buzzing with the refound entrepreneurial spirit that a few months later, I quit my job and decided to go back to my entrepreneurial calling, even though I didn't have any clue what am I going to do.
Okay, I was going to ask if there was
corporate anymore.
Okay, I was going to ask if there was a plan in place when you gave notice, or if something had already started, or if it was just, look, I can't take this anymore.
The plan was not to take it anymore.
Okay.
You need to understand, in corporate, I was working as an advisor for companies like MasterCard Israel and Motorola Israel, Orange. It's huge companies with their corporate culture is very, very corporate-ish. And
not so,
I was never built for.
It's not an environment that's necessarily conducive to startups or to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and of course, as an advisor, I had even less of an opportunity for anything of that sort because I was just analyzing their data and making suggestions, and I didn't have any time left to do anything entrepreneurial, not for the company I was working for. And for me, I just couldn't. I always felt that if I have the time to side hustle, then that time should be spent for the company that's paying my paycheck.
Okay.
And I was never able to put like a limit or a line and say, okay, this is how much of myself that I'm giving, and you won't have 100% of me. Okay. I do have a personal life. No, I didn't have any personal life, and I couldn't make that distinction. So I had to leave.
So after taking the leap into the unknown, I guess, what were your first steps to try and make a business out of it? Or I guess what,
well, I love the leap into the unknown. Well, it's funny because, as I mentioned, when I went to work for that company I was working for, we were going to start an internet marketing department. And when we were talking about it and discussing like what kind of a company we wanted to be, a name of a person I didn't know, Ed Dale, popped up. And Ed Dale is very known in the internet marketing circles. And I ended up in his mailing list.
Okay.
And it seemed insignificant point of information, factoid, only that just as I left corporate, I got an email from Ed saying, I have something huge to show you. Next month, we're going to have a Google Hangout, and I'm going to show you something that'll blow your mind. And what Ed was showing us was his magazine publishing platform for Apple.
Okay.
Now, Apple has a platform for magazines. It's called Newstand. I suppose we'll talk a bit more about it down the road of this interview. But basically, you need to build an app that works with Newstand. It's not really straightforward to work with Apple. So Ed and another co-founder created a platform that lets you easily create magazines for iPad. And the opportunity was huge because at the time there were only 2,000 magazines in the entire App Store, serving a crowd of 67 million iPads at the time.
Okay, wow.
So it was kind of like being told about Google before Google became a huge thing. That's what we felt, at least.
Okay.
So I decided that, I'm going to do a magazine. And I had like a notebook full of ideas of what types of magazines I could do. Like I thought doing something about dog training because I just had a dog that I adopted a few months before. And I had like a million ideas. But at the end of the day, I decided I just want to spread the word of people like Pat Flynn that inspired me to get out of this dark place that I was in. And I wanted to reach more people. So I decided to start Inspiring Innovation, which does exactly that. It tries to inspire innovation and entrepreneurship around the world.
Definitely, it does. If anybody wants to check out the magazine, definitely head over to the Apple Newstand and check it out. I believe you can get your first 2 issues for free. And it's a really well done.
Let's do something even more interesting for your listeners. I'll give everybody 3 months free subscription for the magazine, no strings attached, no auto renewal, 3 months, and then you can decide if you want it or not. We'll have the code in the show notes.
Wow, thank you for that.
Is that a cool deal?
Very cool, thank you.
Awesome.
So at this time, did you have any publishing experience or any app building experience to build out the magazine app?
What Ed Dale's platform, which is called Magcast, actually does is takes away all the part of programming anything. You don't see code at all. So that was taken care of, even though I was an Apple programmer. And I was actually considering building a magazine app. And then Ed's platform came and was like, okay, I just saved 8-9 months of work. So that's great.
It's called Magcast.
Magcast, like podcast, so Magcast. So that part was covered. For the publishing experience, since I was 14 or 15, I was working on and off for an Israeli radio station owned by the Israeli Broadcasting Association. So I did have a lot of experience in interviewing and in setting up a show, but I never did that like with written publishing.
Okay.
So, but I just decided I'm going to do that, and I'm going to interview amazing people, and whatever happens will happen, basically. Again, another leap of faith.
Definitely. So what's the time commitment to put together a digital magazine? I think that you're right. It's a huge opportunity if there's only 2,000 publications on a platform that's in, like you said, 50 or 60 million homes.
Yeah, and now I believe iPad, if they haven't already, it's going to hit the 100 million devices mark by the end of this year. And the magazine is just about to be launched on Android and iPhone too. So the market it's hard to comprehend how big the market really is. In terms of time, when I started, it took me about 6 weeks of work to create one monthly issue.
Okay.
You could see a problem with the math there. So very quickly I stumbled into a problem with keeping up with the monthly schedule, which forced me to learn more about outsourcing and systemization and all these things that I don't know if you discuss on your show, but are really crucial.
Okay. And actually, I believe that's how we ended up connecting through the virtual assistants.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, that's exactly right. I'll share with the audience that I interviewed Ralph Quintero from the Great Business Project podcast magazine. It's an entire big thing. Check it out. Sorry. And I told Ralph, look, I'm drowning with all of these tasks. How do you do it? So he said, get a VA. So, well, where do I find a VA? So he said, just go to Virtual Staff Finder. And finally I did. And when I was raving about it on Twitter, Nick asked me if I mind to write a review about VSF on his site, which is, that's how we met. So once I did get a VA and I completely outsourced the design of the magazine to a digital magazine designer, which is funny because that probably didn't exist a year ago. But now it's a real thing.
Now this is somebody's job. That's great.
He's just actually, it's funny. He just started a magazine. His wife is a designer. They realized the opportunity and they created a very successful business out of it.
That's awesome. See, that could be somebody else's side hustle.
No doubt. He's doing phenomenally well. That's a hard word. Probably got it wrong. Anyway, so with a VA and an on-demand video editor and a designer, it now takes me about 5-6 days to create a monthly issue.
Okay.
Which is a lot better.
That cut your time down significantly.
Yeah, it's systemizing and outsourcing.
Very cool.
That's the secret.
What kind of production costs are we looking at to make a well-done digital magazine like Inspiring Innovation?
Well, thank you. The cost of a design for me is around $200 per issue. I know some people pay $400, some people pay $100, but that's kind of the range. At $200, you can get a very decent designer. Outsourcing is outsourcing. It's a good general VA, I believe, costs today between $450 to $700 on the higher end. I'm around $500 for mine. On-demand video editing, which I only use for a few hours per month, is around $5 an hour. And I forgot to mention article writing, which is a major part of the deal. And you could actually get a good article writer on Odesk, US-based, for $13-15 an hour, something like that.
Okay, I was going to ask about the content production itself, like if you're writing everything yourself, if you had a staff of writers or
I have what looks like a staff of writers, but it's just 3 on-demand article writers. Each one has different publishing experience. So depending on the type of interviewee and the type of story I want to get out of it, I choose which one of them takes care of it. But none of them are on full-time job basis or anything like that.
I think we should pause on this figure of $200 an issue or $400 an issue and the high end for publishing a magazine. It's like it's impossible to even imagine like a Newsweek or a Sports Illustrated or something having a production cost of $200 an issue. That's really incredible.
Actually, Ed, who started Magcast, Ed used to own a real print magazine. And I think he mentioned at the time the monthly cost of printing a single issue was around $30,000.
Wow. So
it's the difference is, of course, unbelievable.
That's really, really cool. And how much does each issue charge for? Or can you buy individual issues, or is it just subscription-based?
So in terms of Apple Newstand, you can do whatever you want. You can charge for a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, or charge for each issue, whatever you want. For me, I decided I don't allow any more to buy single issues. What I do allow is to have a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. But unlike traditional press, when you subscribe, you get access to all the back issues.
Okay. Oh, very cool.
And actually, just because of technical difficulties, I couldn't allow access to back issues as long as the new issues, you could have buy them like singularly. So I just decided, if you're a subscriber, I'll give you everything.
Very cool. And how much is the subscription?
Subscription is $4 or $3.99 in the US store. Apple determines by their bizarre calculations the currency in other countries,
okay,
which you have no control over. But
Okay.
it's basically, the App Store works in price tiers. So price tier number 4 is $3.99 in the US and whatever in other countries, and you get 70% of that.
Okay. So it's similar. It's very similar to what a paper magazine would cost, just without the $30,000 production cost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And of course, with the magic that is the iPad, it's ready for you. You pick it up and the magazine is already there. You don't need to go out and buy it or even open the envelope. It's just waits for you inside the device for whenever you're ready. And unlike traditional print, you can mix in videos and audio and basically anything interactive you're used to from the web. You can put it in the magazine and give a much bigger experience.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Experience.
Is there, because it takes obviously a lot of content to come up with an issue every month, is there an advantage to doing it in magazine form versus just starting a blog, for example?
Well, there are millions of blogs out there and only a few thousand digital magazines. So you do get a better chance of attention. B, there's the authority that you have as a magazine publisher, which I cannot explain in any other way besides saying, when you tell someone, I want to interview you for my magazine and I'll put you on the cover, and the magazine is being read in 100 and whatever countries and ranking in the top 10 of business magazines in the iStore.
Okay.
It means something for the other side. When you just tell them you want to interview them for your blog, unless you have huge amounts of visitors, it's going to be hard to convince people that they should pay attention.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there are there some actions that people can take inside the Apple Newstand to market the magazine, or even outside that platform to kind of help it gain some traction?
Well, outside of the Apple Store, there's a lot to be done, because you can create a blog that completes the magazine and attract web traffic and send them into the magazine. You can do joint ventures to give away subscriptions to other people with products that complete your magazine or interact with it in a way. There's a lot to do outside. There's, of course, you can do Facebook ads and all of that. In the App Store, what you need to look at is what is known as App Store optimization, which is like search engine optimization, but for the App Store. And that can make a very big difference in how much traffic you're getting. My magazine went from 10 downloads a month to thousands of downloads a month by applying correct ASO practices.
Okay.
And I actually, it'll take too long to share it right now, but I have another podcast, which is called Digital Publishing Podcast, and we can put a link in the show notes. And it's with a good friend, David Janner. And our first 3 episodes are all about how to do App Store optimization to get the maximum exposure from the Apple Store.
Very good. We'll definitely link to that. I like the ASO acronym.
I can't take credit for that, but it's spot on.
Very good. Very good. So let's see, what else were we going to cover? Is this a viable, you said it still takes 5 or 6 days, but is this a viable side hustle business if somebody wanted to start a magazine of their own? Is it something they could run part-time?
Okay. I have some colleagues that are making a lot of money from their magazine. I have colleagues who aren't making any money from the magazine. So it's a matter of which niche are you picking. And just like any entrepreneurial venture, do you have a unique selling proposition? Do you have a reason? Are you solving a problem? Do you have a reason for people to pay you money? As with any other product, it applies to a magazine. In terms of is it worthwhile? Well, it builds up. As long as you don't have a big amount of people that are canceling their subscription, you're getting new subscribers every month. The amount of devices is only growing and growing at a frightening rate. So it can become something that brings in money if you have the patience, which is obviously if you're able to allow yourself the patience to do that.
Yeah, I love the subscription model of business, like just, the idea of having kind of semi-predictable recurring revenue month after month is obviously a beautiful thing. I haven't quite cracked the code.
And the beautiful thing is because it's on the Apple Newstand, so Apple handles all of the credit card processing and stuff like that. And almost everybody I know that has an iTunes account has their updated credit card information with Apple, because you want to buy apps, you want to buy songs. And so the credit card the process is always working. You don't worry about anything. And at the end of the month, Apple put money into your bank account.
Yeah, that's great. And you said they take 30% revenue share?
Yeah, they take 30% revenue share. You can, I might be sorry that I'll say that, but you can get a few more cents going your way if you become an affiliate of yourself. But that'll add another 5%. So let's say Apple takes 25 to 30% of the revenue.
Okay, got it. So that's kind of the Apple Newstand. I think this is a really cool kind of new frontier in digital publishing, and probably a big opportunity for a lot of people to at least explore. And if you're going to do that, definitely check out Meron's digital publishing podcast, which we'll link to in the show notes for sure. And Meron, I think this is a good place.
For the quick typers, it's digitalpublishingcast.com, but we'll put the link in the show notes.
Okay. And with that, kind of moving towards wrapping up, any other words of wisdom for the Side Hustle Nation audience of part-time and aspiring entrepreneurs?
Can I give you 4?
Oh, that would be excellent. Let's hear them.
Awesome. So the first one, I think it'll be a bit surprising, but it made a huge, huge difference for me, is after you hear this interview, go to the nearest coffee shop, get a cappuccino, and ask for a 10% discount.
Does it work?
It didn't for me. But the thing is, this is something I learned from Noah Kagan, that I'm doing his coaching course now online.
He's the
highly recommended.
He's the AppSumo guy?
AppSumo guy, yeah.
Okay.
Founder of AppSumo, employee number 4 of Mint. He's been around and being very successful. But the thing is, learn to handle failure. And like going out there and asking for a 10% discount, I couldn't believe how afraid I was. And I was procrastinating with this task for a week or 2.
Okay.
And I kept going into coffee shops and ordering coffee and not asking. Because there's a good chance they'll say no. And it also, like, you feel that they know it's because it's just a minor financial discount. You feel almost ashamed to ask for it.
Right, because it's like what's 30 cents, 25 cents, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's nothing. Like, why do you need the 10%? But when you do that, it just makes you realize, A, you're still alive, and B, it wasn't that bad. And that exercise alone helped me a million, because when I launched my podcast 2 weeks after going through this exercise, I wasn't afraid to email as many people as I wanted and ask them to leave me an iTunes review to help me rank better.
Okay.
Because, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? I already had someone say, no, you won't get 30 cents discount. How much more embarrassing can it get? Well, not much.
I like that. I like that. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And just go through these minor failures, because business is so much harder than asking for a 10% discount. And if you can't ask for 10% discount, you can't do business.
Okay. I like it.
So just do it. Number 2 is one of my favorite quotes, which is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Very good.
By Henry Ford.
I used to work at Ford.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah,
I owe my life to Ford.
No.
Find the problem before you find the solution. And we have a great idea, and then we try to prove it solves a problem. Start with a real problem. Oh, I can give you a great example with my magazine. Probably if I had defined the problem better, then I want to inspire other people. But what do other people need? That would have saved me months of figuring it out down the road. Or if you develop any kind of product, just see what the market really needs. And if people want to check like interviews with people like Dane Maxwell, he's an artist of idea extraction, of actually getting the customer to give you his deepest problem and then just solve that. And it obviously reduces the risk of everything because you know it's a problem someone will pay for.
Dane Maxwell is the software, the foundation, or what's it called?
The foundation, yeah. Dane Maxwell from the foundation. He's the guy that creates six-figure businesses with no idea.
Yeah, I heard his interview actually on Pat's show. That was
one of the most popular interviews on Pat's show ever, which said something for a show with over 3.5 million downloads.
Yeah, that was a really interesting episode for sure.
Yeah, I think it was. It's eye-opening.
Okay, so find the problem before building the solution. Very good.
Last, and you already said that out of previous stuff I said, but just do it. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Get out there, get it done. Or
like Noah Kagan says, you're still alive.
All right, Meron,
awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Tons of great stuff about digital publishing and words of wisdom for other side hustlers. Love it.
I hope the side hustlers will be inspired. I can't wait to have some of them on my show when they make it happen and are ready to inspire other people. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter all the time at Meron Bareket. Or you can go to my site, meronbareket.com, or email me m@meronbareket.com.
Very good. We'll throw up definitely links to all that stuff in the show notes. And
perfect.
That's it. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you found some value there in all of Meron's experience. And you can find the links at the show notes at sidehustlenation.com/episode 7. And I'm excited because Meron and I will actually have a chance to meet in real life in a couple weeks up in Portland for the World Domination Summit. And with a name like that, it's sure to be good times. If you're going to be up there too, definitely let me know. Would love to meet up and meet you up there. So until next time, have a great week. Make something happen. And I will see you in episode 8, where we meet Jeremy Blanchard, a 25-year-old life coach who started his coaching business in his spare time and says you can do it too, even without a ton of perceived life experience. It's one you won't want to miss. Okay, I'm out.
Thanks for listening to The Side Hustle Show at www.sidehustlenation.com.
How much more embarrassing can it get?